Hi, Rian. Congratulations on being part of Here Lies Love as Imelda Marcos. So, from playing Aurora Aquino in the Broadway production now to the LA production, two different women, two very significant roles. Can you talk about that journey of portraying these two powerful women and how did you prepare for your current role as Imelda?
Yes, so I played Aurora Aquino on Broadway, as you said, but I also understudied both Imelda and Estrella Cumpas. And so I have a very unique perspective in that I got to experience the show from four different female characters. Um, and that was a lovely perspective because, the power dynamics in this show vary very differently between each of the women in the show. But to be part of the first ever all Filipino Broadway cast was such a historic moment for me and a huge honor, especially to play Doña Aurora. Like you said, she's such a powerful woman and a pillar of strength at the time. And so, as just an inspiring person to me, it was such an honor to step into her character and also share the role with Ate Lea Salonga and
Okay.
Atevina Morales, a lot of really incredible women stepping into that role and to walk amongst them was an incredible honor. And then coming to LA, which I'm sure you know, LA has the largest Filipino community outside of the Philippines. Um, it was just the perfect story to bring here, and not only because of the Filipino cultural moment, but also because of what we're seeing happening both here and in the US, in politics, and it's so relevant today, and as relevant as it was every time any production of Here Lies Love was ever put on. It has remained relevant throughout history. And so to be able to step into the role of Imelda Marcos full time in this new LA production, and also the first time that this production has been put on by the team that has been with the production since its birth for over a decade. This is the first time it's been taken on by a new team, and that is so exciting, a little scary, especially coming from the Broadway production, but it's been so beautiful building this show again from the ground up.
Mhm. Did you compare notes with Joan Almedia too, who portrayed Aurora Aquino?
It's really funny because on our first day of rehearsal, Joan said, I watched the archive of the Broadway production and at Lincoln Center, and it got to the Aurora song, Just Ask the Flowers, and she said, That's that's my Imelda. She saw me because I'm in the archival recording at Lincoln Center. And so the fact that she got to see me on the archive, and that is just that's so cool. Especially because she's such a renowned artist. She's so incredible at what she does. And to know that's part of the source material she saw is crazy. And she has done such a beautiful job portraying Doña Aurora in this production. That I take inspiration from her. I think it's incredible. There's no comparison. It's apples and oranges. Um, she makes me cry every time, and I'm like, I can't cry. I'm Imelda right now. Um, and so, working with her, I had previous notes from the Broadway production from when Bam Aquino came, and I got to talk to Bam about um, his experience, and he was very close with Lola Aurora, and so I got to get some kind of secondhand knowledge or firsthand knowledge actually because it's his experience with her. I got to, jot down a lot of notes that, aren't in the history books, aren't in the newspapers that I can't find. It was very personal information. And so I got to save that for myself in the Broadway production, but then I was able to pass that along to Joan when I came here.
That's great. What was the most challenging part for you doing the Imelda role?
I think the hardest part, we all know that she's kind of on stage the entire time. It's a full 90 minutes. She's on stage the entire time, but that's not actually the hardest challenge for me. It's not even the quick changes every song. It's not all the hair changes. The hardest part for me was putting aside any of my own judgment about this person. I can have whatever feelings I have about her and the Marcos regime, but my job isn't to judge her. My job is to help tell this story and, kind of explore why this may have happened in the first place, why they even rose to power in the first place, how that was able to happen in the Philippines. And so, I have very many strong feelings about Imelda Marcos, but I cannot bring that to the stage.
Mhm. And
That was my biggest challenge.
have you ever met Imelda or our Aurora
I
Aquino?
have not met Imelda. The funny thing is, I spent a lot of time. I lived in Hawaii for a while, as a child and as an adult. Um, and so, there's a lot of Marco supporters there because that is where they were evacuated to. And so they spent a lot of time there, but I never actually met Imelda. I
What
don't know
would
what I would do if I did meet her.
what would be your first question to her?
Oh my gosh, I haven't thought about that. Um, Oh my gosh. Ooh, that's a meaty question. Um, I think my first question, it would be very meaty for her, would be, do you regret any of it? Because, my first instinct was like, oh, maybe ask her why she did it. This musical explores kind of why she does it. It takes artistic license, but I don't really want to know why. I want to know if she regrets it because there's a lot of pain and suffering at her hands and death. And so I want to know, like, if she has reflected on any of that or feels any remorse or regret. You know what I mean? That's my first question.
Very good. And how was your experience with the LA cast, especially Renfro, who portrayed Ferdinand Marcos, and Josh De La Cruz, who portrayed Ninoy Aquino?
I feel so lucky I get to be kind of in a little triangle with them because they are both not only so amazing at what they do, and so they have, uh, just their resumes are stacked. But the fact that they are also such funny and warm and kind humans that it makes me excited to go to work every day and work with this all Filipino cast, which, we fall under the stereotype of we are hardworking, we are amazing at what we do, and we are kind and hospitable. We do fit that stereotype. And so this has been the most drama-free, excited to come to work situation ever. Like there, every night after the show, when we meet audience members at the stage door, even after all the audience has left and taken their pictures and gotten their autographs, we're still there just hanging out with each other because we enjoy being with each other that much. And I hope that other Filipinos get to experience what that is like. You know, our culture is very community based. We are best when we are together.
Mhm.
And so to not only bring that on the stage, but also enjoy them and the LA community off the stage is I think the best thing I can take away from this experience.
So there's always Filipino food after the show.
Yes, yes. The good thing is because I'm on stage all the time, I'm burning so many calories, so I don't have to worry about how much I'm eating because it's the cast bringing food, it's all the Filipino friends who are like, "Hey, I'm coming to the stage door and I brought lots of treats for you." I said, "Oh my God. It's mamon, it's ensemadas, it's the sweets and the savories, we are Filipino food. It's not we're not just eating salads."
Mm. So director Sinahal Desai must have been fond of Filipino food as well by now.
Yes, I think he was very excited to be around so much robust Filipino culture and joy. And we were teaching some Tagalog words, and he was very inquisitive about our culture and very respectful of our culture, which is so beautiful.
What do you think young Fil-Ams would get after watching the show?
Ooh, so this show is it rides a very complex line. We briefly talk about the US relationship with the Philippines, which has a very long, complicated history since the 1800s, when the US first had its presence in the US. And so, you know, I feel like Filipino American audiences view this show differently from Filipinos in the Philippines. You know what I mean? I think Filipino Americans have a kind of a unique lens when they come here because they have both the experience of living in the US, um, and and what it's like over in the Philippines. And so I hope that Filipino Americans come and see this show and one, not only feel represented on the stage and feel that their culture is celebrated. Um, there's moments where we have Minusuan and Tinikling, and there's a lot of Tagalog that we don't over-explain to non-Filipino audiences. They just get that little Easter egg, like that's for me. I understood that. Maybe the person next to me doesn't understand, but at the top of the show, or Mayari says, Mabuhay! Welcome! Welcome, titas and titos. Oh, just kidding, ates and kuyas. And of course, the Filipinos are all laughing. We have some, swear words in Tagalog, which is like, oh my God, But, it's so fun to see that. But on a deeper level, we just celebrated the 40th anniversary of the People Power Revolution of 1986. Huge milestone. Um, and yes, it was a celebration, but it is also a stark reminder that, Bongbong Marcos is in power right now. History does repeat itself. And so I hope that we have taken on the huge task of continuing to tell this story so that the younger generations of Filipinos, including Filipino Americans, know what happened. And so they are equipped with that knowledge. And, it is up to them to see what we can do to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Mhm.
That the People Power Revolution was such a miracle, but it was also the culmination of many, many years of struggle, of activism, of organization. And I hope that this generation feels inspired that they can do the same thing.
Mhm. Very good answer. Well, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Rian. More power to you, and I look forward to your next projects.
Thank you so much, Janet. It was
Thank
wonderful to meet you.
you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Is it done recording?
Yeah.